Okay. All right. So good morning, everybody. If we've never met before, my name is Cindy. I think I know everyone here. This is going to be a 60-minute slow flow and stretch, and we'll begin our class today in pod pose, so restorative child's pose. So instead of bringing your knees out wide like we do in child's pose, you're going to bring your knees underneath of you, and then bring your ankles together. And then bring your forehead down towards the earth, and hands will come down by your sides. And palms can face up or down, depending on if you want to ground yourself a little bit more, you can have your palms down. If you want to be open to receiving energy this morning, you can flip those palms up. But just starting to really relax. Take this moment to find a few breaths. And just noticing the breath as it flows in and out of your nose. And really paying attention to breathing into your back body. So allowing those rib cage to expand on the inhale, and as you exhale, the rib cage will decompress. Setting aside any thoughts or stories that you have or that you're holding on to, just setting them aside, really using the breath to help anchor you in the present moment. Beginning to lengthen and the inhales and exhalations, so lengthening and deepening the next few rounds of breath. Perhaps turning on your ujjayi breath. It's an audible breath. It's done in and out through the nose, making that slight constriction at the back of the throat. Finding 3 rounds here. When you're finished, finding a more active child's pose. So bringing your hands or your fingertips forward to the top of your mat, allowing your knees to separate and then coming back down onto the heels. So really extending the fingertips forward as you lengthen the tailbone back towards your heels. So you start to notice and maybe feel a little bit of traction in through your spine. Maybe noticing the spaces opening up in between your vertebrae. Start to shrug your shoulders down away from your ears. And then maybe gripping the mat with your fingertips so that forearms should be lifted off the mat. Nice and active here. Finding a finger bridge, so pressing the tips of the fingers into the mat and lift the palms. Seeing if you can lengthen just a little bit more. And then as you exhale, allowing those palms to lower. Sliding the right forearm back underneath of or sliding the forearm back so that your elbow is underneath of that right shoulder. Bring your left hand to the back of your head. So your elbow is out to the side. And as you inhale, start to open up, lift the chest. So twisting from mid to upper back. And as you exhale, lower and tap the left elbow into the mat. So inhale, left arm reaches. Exhale, tap. Inhale, left arm reaches. Exhale, tap. One more time. Inhale. As you exhale this time, allowing the left arm to thread underneath of that right shoulder. So left fingertips out to the left side of your mat. Start to inch the right fingertips to the top, allowing your left ear, your left cheekbone to rest on towards the earth. So that right hand can reach the right corner of the mat. If you feel you have a little bit more space and you'd like to go further, starting to inch the fingertips to the left corner of the mat. And then begin to spiral your heart open to the sky, feeling that nice twist in through the right side body. You could go further by releasing the top arm behind you to the low back And that palm can face up, maybe even those fingertips inching in towards that left hip crease. Finding about 2 more rounds of breath. And releasing your right arm. And then start to crisscross it over top of the left. So the right fingertips inching to the left corner of the mat. So biceps are crisscrossed. And then allowing your chin to rest onto your right arm. Maybe the forehead will graze the earth. Finding a few rounds of breath here. And finishing up your last round of breath, extending both fingertips forward to the top of your mat. Again, finding that child's pose, finding that finger bridge. So fingertips into the earth, palms are lifting. Lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, palms lower. This time sliding the left forearm back towards you. So elbow underneath of the shoulder. The right hand comes to the back of the head. Elbows pointing straight up. With your next inhale, start to lift the elbow up, twisting the heart open to the right. And exhale, tapping the right elbow down to the mat. Inhale, lifting up, elbow lifts. Exhale, lower and tap. Inhale, arm reaches up. Exhale, lower and tap. Last time here. So opening up the heart. And as you exhale, threading the needle, so right hand comes underneath of the left arm. Standing in the right fingertips to the side of your mat as the left fingertips reach the top of your mat. Maybe even over to that right corner to go a little bit deeper, allowing your heart to start to spin open. And then if you take your hand behind you on the other side, finding that symmetry here. And maybe those fingertips inching in towards the right hip crease, finding 3 rounds of breath. Gently starting to unravel. The left hand will come across the body towards the right corner of them, or right side of your mat rather. Allowing those arms to crisscross, and then see if you can just relax your chin down on top of your left bicep maybe. Finding 3 rounds of breath. Releasing, coming back through center, extending the arms forward, finding that child's pose. Lengthen the spine, forehead grazes. Next, inhale, starting to round up the spine nice and slow. Moving into an upward facing dog. So pressing the tops of the feet into the earth, hands underneath of the shoulders, hips draw forward, gaze up to sky, shoulders shrug away from ears. And as you exhale, starting to round back into that child's pose. So moving nice and slow here. Inhale, rounding forward into upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Drawing your heart forward, pressing the tops of the feet into the earth, thighs lifted. Exhale, start to round back. Inhale, rounding forwards. Lift your heart, lift your gaze, upward facing dog. And then tuck your toes under, sending your hips nice and high for your first down dog of the day. Beginning to pedal out the feet and finding any gentle movements that will feel good to you. So bending into the knees, maybe lifting up high on the toes, maybe wagging your tail as they say, just whatever feels good to you. And then starting to find some stillness, some alignment in our down dog. So beginning with the hands rooting into your Hasta Bandha, thumb and index finger first, and then gripping the mat with the rest of the fingertips. Spiraling your elbow creases forwards, shoulders away from ears, your tailbone is high to sky, so you're making that upside down V shape. Allowing the heels to melt down towards the earth. Navel draws into spine, so 2 inches below your belly. Drawing your Uddiyana Bandha in, protecting that low back and helping to stabilize and support your practice. And then start to lift up the pelvic floor wall, so engaging that mula bandha. Lifting up high on the toes. Let your hips and heels fall to the right side, so bending in through the right knee, pressing into the hands, so equal weight in both hands. Inhale, coming back to center, lifting high on the toes. Exhale, hips and heels to the left, bending in through the left knee, equal weight in both hands. Inhale, coming back to center, heels lower, little tiny steps with the fingertips, walking all the way back to the toes, so using your core. And once you get there, bend the knees until your chest is touching, so allowing that chest to drape right on the top of the thighs, finding your opposite elbows, allowing the head, the neck, the shoulders to hang heavy here. Maybe swaying gently from side to side. Maybe shaking the head yes. And shaking the head no. Just allowing your head, neck, and shoulders to hang heavy, releasing absolutely anything that you're holding on to. Just let it drip right off the back of your head. And then gently release your bind. We'll heel toe our feet back to touch. So 2 big toes to touch. And then find find a halfway lift. So palms to shins, navel to spine, lengthening the crown of the head forward, tailbone lengthens back. And then exhale, fold. Soft bend in the knees, navel to spine as you round up vertebrae by vertebrae, nice and slow. Stacking one vertebrae on top of the other. As you come up, the crown of the head will be the last thing to come up. Once you get there, spinning your palms forward for mountain pose, Tadasana. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and then really feeling connected to the earth here. So grounding down through all 4 corners of the feet, lifting your quadriceps up towards your hip bones. So engaging and activating those thighs, drawing your tailbone down. Bandhas are active here. Finding your drishti, your gaze. Now bringing your hands to heart center. Setting an intention for your practice. So take a moment to close your eyes and then setting that mental drishti for your practice. So connecting to something that is meaningful for you. A phrase, a prayer, an I am statement. Next, inhale, seal that intention in, draw it in. And as you exhale, open the mouth inside out. Letting it go, allowing it to drift away, knowing that you can come back to rest on this at any point in time you need to throughout your practice this morning. Gently fluttering your eyes open as you take a deep breath in, circle the hands up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze to thumbs, exhale, hinge and fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana. Palms to shin. I'm not sure where my brain is this morning, so maybe I'll stick to the English version. Start to walk your hands forward to the top of your mat. So finding that high plank. Hands are underneath of your shoulders, fingertips spread wide. So activating your transverse abdominis. So just firing up our core, saying hello. And then we'll gently lower down all the way onto our bellies for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Once you get there, draw the fingertips underneath the shoulders, elbows pointing straight back. Maybe zip up the feet if you have a healthy low back. Next, inhale, finding a baby cobra, drawing your heart forwards, broadening through those collarbones, lengthening through the back of the neck. So taking that crease out of the back of the neck. Take one more breath in. And then exhale, lower the forehead down. Again, inhale, lifting the heart, the chest, perhaps this time hovering the hands off the bottom of the mat. Seeing if you can test out your core, your back strength. Take one more breath in. And then exhale, lower the forehead down. Last set of baby cobra here, maybe this time allowing yourself to press into the hands, so lift the heart and the chest. If you have a sensitive low back, it's okay to take the feet nice and wide. Taking one more breath in. And then exhale, lowering everything down. You're tucking your toes under, firming up your core, pressing up to plank in a straight line, or using the knees and making your way back to your downward facing dog. Let's take a cleansing breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and sigh something out. Gently lowering onto the knees, finding a tabletop position. So hands under shoulders, knees under wrists. Extending the right leg back behind you, so tucking those toes under. Now pressing back into that heel, feeling that nice stretching through the right calf muscle. And then elevating the right leg so heel is in line with right hip. And then if your right hip is lifted at all, drawing it back underneath of you. Extending the left fingertips forward, the thumb is facing up. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, draw the left elbow to the right knee, round everything in nice and tight. Inhale, extend and reach forward. Exhale, knee taps, elbow. Inhale, extend and reach. Now bending the right heel into your seat, circling the left hand back behind you, taking a hold of the outside or the top of your foot. Now pressing that foot into the hand to lift the heart, the chest. So gentle back bend here. And then without slingshotting the back leg, gently release the left hand down. Tucking the right toes under, inhale that left leg high for your 3-point dot. So left leg is lifted. Start to peel that left hip open so it's stacked on top of the right, bending in through the right knee. Trying to keep equal weight in both hands. Drawing heel close to seat, seeing if you can lift that left knee up higher than your ankle. And then exhale, drawing the left knee to the left tricep for mountain climber prep. Inhale, let's peel that hip open once more, equal weight in both hands. And then exhale, twisted cheetah, tapping that right tricep. And then inhale, 3-point, leg extends, hips are square. Exhale, step your left foot in between your hands, finding that low runner's lunge. And then stepping the right foot up to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach up overhead, palms to touch, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. Next inhale, we reach up to sky. Exhale, we hinge and fold, circling and swan diving. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, stepping back to our high plank. So lowering down, first of all, offering the modified variation of your flow to knees, chest, and chin. So hips are staying lifted. Next, inhale, draw your heart forward, lift the chest, find baby cobra. Exhale, chest lowers, toes tucked under, firming your core to high plank or using the knees if you like. And then exhale to downward facing dog. And coming back into that tabletop again, so knees under hips, hands under shoulders, extending the left leg back behind you, so pressing back into that left heel. Feeling a nice calf stretch. Elevating the left leg up, left hip tucks under, extending the right arm forward, right fingertips reach up, so thumb is facing up. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, draw the left knee to the right elbow. Inhale, extend and reach and lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend, reach and lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend, finding that gentle back bend. So bending the left heel into your seat, reaching the right hand back behind you for the top of the foot. And then as you inhale, pressing the left foot into the right hand as you lift the heart, bringing your drishti, your gaze forward maybe. And then without slingshotting, gently releasing. Right hand underneath the shoulder, extend the left leg down, toes touch to earth. Inhale that right leg high, 3-point. So to bend the knee, peeling that hip open. So making sure we're not dumping all the way into the left hand. Engaging that right glute, seeing if you can lift the knee higher. And then exhale, mountain climber prep, tapping that right tricep. Inhale to 3, or inhale actually, peeling that hip open. And then exhale, twisted cheetah, tapping left tricep. Inhale to 3-point this time. And as you exhale, stepping the foot in between your hands, finding that low runner's lunge. And then left foot meets the right. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Hollow the belly. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we rise all the way up. This time catching the left wrist. Inhale, we lift up to sky. Exhale, coming down over to the right. So making sure to root through Pada Bandha, your left big toe. Engaging your glutes, opening up the left side of your body. And then thinking of this as coming down in between those two panes of glass. Next inhale, come back to center, switching the grip with your wrist. And as you exhale, coming down over to the left, opening up right side body. Maybe gaze will look up, neutralizing the gaze, or looking down if that feels better to you. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hinge and fold, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Stepping back, finding that high plank. Option to lower down to knees, chest, and chin, or maybe Chaturanga Dandasana if that's in your practice. So lowering down, making sure that shoulders do not dip below elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog, or cobra if you like to modify. And then exhale, making your way back to your down dog. So just knowing that you have the freedom in your practice to take whatever variation of the vinyasa flow you'd like. And you can always skip these as well if you're beginning to get fatigued, you need a little bit of a break. Next, inhale, the right leg rises to 3-point. Exhale, knee to nose cheetah, nice and slow, using that core, maybe forehead to knee. Inhale, 3-point. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. So low runner's lunge. Inhale, drawing the heart forward. Now you can use blocks or soup cans or whatever you have on the opposite sides, on either side of the feet, front foot, sorry, if you need a little bit more space. Next, exhale, lower onto the bottom knee and untuck the toes. As you inhale, the arms will reach up overhead. So low crescent Anjayasana, allowing the pelvis to move forward and down, navel hugs to spine. And then taking a hold of opposite elbows. And then see if you can draw the arms back, so biceps beside the ears, opening up the heart, the chest. And then finding a gentle side bend over to the right, so opening up left side body. Inhale, coming back through center, releasing the hands back behind you. Now if you can, finding that bind, so interlacing the hands, palms together. That is not accessible at this point, taking a hold of opposite forearms or elbows. Finding a modified version of humble, so allowing the right shoulder to come to the inside of the right knee, allowing the arms, the bind to reach up and over. So really using your core, your outer glutes to help stabilize you here. Seeing if you can inch the crown of the head just a little bit closer towards the earth. And then inhale, start to lift the chest, lift the gaze. And bringing your hands to your heart center. Shifting forward slightly as you exhale, twisting to the right, left elbow to the outside of the front thigh. So two palms pressing together, maybe looking over that right shoulder. Another option is to place the left hand to the inside of the front foot, if that feels better for you, with the arms lifted. And then next inhale, come back to center. And then exhale into your half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. So shifting the weight back, lifting right toes to shin. You can use blocks on either side of the foot. If you have one block, you can always place it underneath the calf muscle, hands to either side. Then you're drawing the right hip back, the left hip forward. Seeing if you can hinge and fold just a little bit more. So lengthening from the low back, hollowing out the belly, forehead to shin, chin to shin. And then next inhale, start to lift the heart, the chest, shifting forward into a lizard. So both hands to the inside of the front foot, heel toe your right toes out to the side of your mat. So knees in line with toes, and allowing the hips to settle here. And then incorporating your quadricep stretch, drawing the left heel in towards your seat, circling the right hand back behind you. So taking a hold of the outside, the pinky toe side of your foot, looking over your right shoulder, finding that twist. Maybe the heel can draw closer in towards your seat. Gently releasing the back leg. Tucking the left toes under, spinning to the side. So wide-legged forward fold here. So both toes are, all your toes actually are facing forward. So paralleling the feet, maybe even your toes are slightly in from your heels. Hands are underneath of your face. Now start to walk the hands forward. And really hollow out the belly, allowing the head, the neck, the shoulders to hang heavy here. Finding a few rounds of breath. Walking the hands back in towards you. Drawing the heels inwards. And then big, deep bend in the knees. Right hand on top of right thigh, left hand on top of left thigh. Finding a little bit of a shoulder stretch here. So dipping the right shoulder down, looking over that left shoulder. Tailbone lengthens down. Crown of the head lengthens up. Inhale, come back to center, and then exhale, dipping left shoulder down, looking over right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Bring your hands to your heart center, and then rising up all the way up. And then spinning your right toes to a 45-degree, left toes to the back of your mat. So squaring up your hips and your shoulders. You might want to step that right foot in slightly. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold forward. So you can use blocks on either side of the front foot if you need to. Left hip draws back, right hip draws forward. Chest moving to thigh, forehead to shin or chin to shin. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen the chest. Exhale, grounded warrior 3. So fingertips stay in line with the tops of the toes. Palms are flat if you can. Extending the right leg back. So back toes are pointing straight down, squaring that right hip. Maybe bringing your forehead to your shin. And then exhale, folding forward. Next inhale, bend your knees, graze the ground, Utkatasana chair pose. So arms reach up overhead. The weight shifts back into the heels. Lifting the heart, the chest. Tailbone lengthens down, pressing down into the feet as you reach up through the fingertips. See if you can sink just a few more inches lower. And then as you exhale, bringing the hands into your heart center. Inhale, lifting up through the crown of the head. Exhale, twisting to the left. Right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. Palms pressing together. Crown of the head lengthens forward. So Bandha is active here. Finding a few rounds of breath. Next inhale, coming back to center. Finding that chair pose. Arms reach. Gaze lifts up. Good. Exhale, forward fold, letting it go. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Stepping back to your high plank. So option to move through that vinyasa flow. Maybe lowering to knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Just allowing yourself to connect the breath to the movement. So one breath per movement. Making your way back into your down dog, resetting the breath. Reconnecting here, 3 rounds of breath. Next, inhale, left leg rises, 3-point. Exhale, knee to nose, cheetah, maybe forehead to knee. Inhale, 3-point. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Inhale, heart draws forward as you lengthen for low runner's lunge. Exhale, lowering onto the back knee, untucking the toes. And then inhale, arms reach up overhead, low crescent on Angiasana. So allowing the hips to settle here. And then taking a hold of opposite elbows, drawing the biceps behind the ears, opening up the heart, the chest. Gently leaning over towards the left side, opening up the right hip crease. Inhale, come back to center. Releasing the arms, spinning the bind back behind you. So holding on to opposite elbows, forearms, or interlacing the hands. So lifting up the heart, maybe gaze lifts up, gentle back bend. Exhale, humble warrior modification. So left shoulder to the inside of the left thigh. So still using your core, reaching your hands up to the sky, lengthening through the crown of the head. Maybe seeing if you can lower the crown of the head towards the earth. Let's start to lift the chest. Release the hands to heart center. Slightly lifting forward, lengthening forward, and then exhale, twisting to the right or to the left. So right elbow at the outside of the left thigh, two palms pressed together. You can also modify this by finding that easy twist, right hand to the inside of the front foot, left hand reaches up. So whatever variation feels best to you. Coming back to center, framing the front foot, hips sending back. So half splits, left toes to left shin. So inhale, lengthen, draw the left hip back, the right hip forward, and then hinge and fold. So allowing yourself to use the breath to melt deeper into the asana. Maybe forehead to shin or chin to shin. Inhale, lifting your heart halfway. And then coming into your lizard. So both hands to the inside of the front foot, the heel toe that foot out slightly so your left toes are pointing out, the heel is in, knee in line with your toes. And then option to incorporate that quadricep stretch, right heel into the seat. Circling the left hand back behind you, taking a hold of the pinky toe side of the foot. Making sure we're not right on the kneecap, that we're leaning enough forward so we're just above the kneecap here. Maybe looking over that left shoulder. Maybe the right heel draws closer towards your seat. Gently releasing your back leg, tucking the toes under, spinning to the side for wide-legged forward fold. So toes are pointing forwards, heels slightly out. Walk the hands underneath of your face. And then inhale, the right hand reaches up. So twisting open to the sky, pressing down into the left hand, making sure that your hip bones are both pointing down, so squaring those hips. Lowering the right hand down, inhale, left hand reaches up as you twist, open. Gazing up towards those fingertips if it feels okay on your neck. And then exhale, lower down. Drawing the heels in slightly. Lifting up, finding your goddess pose. So cactusing the arms, the elbows are out in line with the shoulders, heels are in, sinking the tailbone down slightly, and just finding the breath here. One more round of breath. And then next inhale, reaching up, finding that star. Palms to touch, spinning the left toes forward, so 45-degree right toes forward. And setting up for intense leg stretch. So exhale, hinge and folding forward over that front leg. Right hip draws back, left hip forward, chest to thigh, forehead to shin, hollowing out the belly. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen the spine. And then exhale, grounded warrior 3. So fingertips back in line with toes, palms are flat if you can. You can also use a block if you need to. Left toes pointing down. Maybe moving your forehead to your shin, chest to thigh. And then left foot meets the right to forward fold. Next, inhale, grace the ground, Utkatasana chair. Arms reach up overhead, sinking hips lower. So leaving off where you were the last time, so finding that depth. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, we lift and lengthen. And then exhale, we twist to the right. So left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Two palms pressing together. Broadening through collarbones. Collarbones are stacked, looking over that right shoulder. So with every inhale, think of lengthening the crown of the head forward. Exhale, we twist, we open the heart towards the sky. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Next, inhale, come back to center, find your chair. Pausing here just for one more round of breath, staying strong. And then exhale, hinge and fold, letting it go, separating the feet, hips distance apart. Padangusthasana, so binding peace fingers, two big toes. And then inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, flat back, hollow the belly, engage quads. Exhale, hinge and fold forward, crown of the head reaches towards the earth. So using that core, that back strength to come down, to go deeper into your forward fold. Allowing the breath here to come back down to normal, elevated. And then gently releasing your bind, heel toeing your feet back to touch. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, flat back, palms to shins. Stepping back, moving through that flow, so lowering to knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale to down dog. Coming back to the breath, 3 rounds of breath here. Next, inhale, right leg rises, finding that 3-point. Exhale, knee to right elbow, mountain climber prep. So option to stay for 5 or fly. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale to 3-point. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Back foot pivots to 45. Inhale, rise, warrior 1. So option to bring the palms together, gaze to thumbs, or arms apart, fingertips spread wide. Make sure the shoulders draw away from ears and there's a nice bend in that front knee, so 90 degrees. Right hip back, left hip forward, rib cage square to the front of the room. Next, exhale, hands draw back behind you, interlace them, open up the heart, the chest, look up, gaze up. Exhale, hinge and fold, humble warrior. Right shoulder to the inside of the front foot. Or front knee rather. So keep lifting up the arms overhead, pressing into the outer blade of the back foot, crown of the head inching towards the earth. Next, inhale, we rise, warrior 1. And then exhale, framing the front foot, inhale, right leg high, 3-point. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands, back foot pivots to 90. Inhale, rise, warrior 2. So finding that front heel to back arch alignment, making sure your right knee is moving out towards the pinky toe side of the front foot. Allowing those hips to settle, arms reaching out to the side, finding that gaze, that drishti just beyond the right fingertips. Flipping the right palm. Inhale, reach up and back to peaceful warrior. So opening up right side body. Exhale, modified side angle, right forearm to thigh, left hand reaches up or beside the ear. See if you can sink just a little bit deeper into that front knee. Keep spiraling your heart open to the sky, tucking hips underneath of you. Make sure you're not dumping all the weight into your right forearm. So using the obliques to help hold you up. Good. Next inhale, we rise, warrior two. Stay strong for a breath. And then inhale, straighten the leg in the front, straighten the bend in the front knee, pivoting the toes forward. So arms to a T, inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold, hands to the outsides of the feet, the ankles, the shins, maybe peace fingers to big toes. So allowing the crown of the head to inch towards the earth, hollowing out the belly. Good. Engaging your glutes here. Engaging hamstrings, protecting the backs of your legs from overstretching here. So staying active in this forward fold. Releasing that inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Now start to heel toe the feet back in just a little bit. Setting up for Malasana Yogi squat. So standing the sits bones towards the earth, hands come to your heart center, elbows to the inner thighs, broadening through collarbones. So if you need a little support, there's always an option to slide a block underneath your seat. You're trying to find the length in the spine, so tailbone lengthens down, crown of the head is lengthening out towards the sky. And then when you're ready, pressing into the feet, using your strong legs to rise all the way nice and slow to start, slower than you want to. Good, arms reach up overhead. And then pivoting the toes, left toes forward, right toes at 45 degrees. Inhale, lift and lengthen. So option this time to find the bind behind your back, interlace the hands. Or maybe hands come to prayer hands. So palms together. And elbows draw out. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, hinge and fold forward. Chest to thigh, forehead to shin. Keep pressing your palms together if you have prayer hands behind your back. Elbows drawing out. And inhale, halfway lift. You're releasing the hands, maybe heart center or airplane variation, shifting forward for warrior three. So finding that balance here. Keep pressing through the right heel like you're stepping on the wall behind you, lengthening the crown of the head forward, right hip tucks under slightly. Good, lunging the right foot back behind you. Inhale, finding that high crescent. So moving slow, think of moving through honey, using the breath to initiate the movement, and then exhale, twisting to the left, right elbow to the outside of the front thigh. So pressing palms together as you spin your heart open to sky, option to lower onto the bottom knee, untuck the toe if you need to modify. Next inhale, come back to high crescent lunge, stay strong. Good, exhale, frame your front foot. Inhale, left foot steps back, finding that high plank, and then moving through that vinyasa flow or finding your downward facing dog. Coming back to 3 rounds of breath here. It feels good to get deep breath in through the nose, open the mouth, sigh it out. Next inhale, left leg rises, 3-point. Exhale, mountain climber. We're holding here for 5 or flying. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3-point. And then exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Inhale, rise, warrior 1. Back heel in and down. Arms reach up overhead. Either palms to touch, gaze to thumbs, or hands apart. Keep spiraling the pinkies inwards. You're deepening the bend in the front knee. Pressing through the outer blade of the back foot. And next, exhale, hands draw back behind you. Interlace the hands, lift and lengthen the heart, the chest. Open up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Humble warrior. Left shoulder to the inside of the left knee. Crown of the head lengthening down, arms reaching up. Hips as square as much as you can. Find the breath. Effort can be found in the body, not in the breath. Allow it to flow here. And next inhale, we rise all the way back up. Finding your warrior one. Exhale, hinge and fold. Frame the front foot. Inhale, left leg high, 3-point. Exhale, step the left foot in between your hands. Spinning your foot open, 90 degrees, warrior two. So arms come to a T. Deep 90-degree bend in the front knee. Making sure that shoulders are stacked right over top of those hips. Bringing your drishti just beyond the left fingertips. Seeing if you can sink just a little bit deeper. Flipping the left palm up, inhale, reach up and back, peaceful warrior. Exhale, modified side angle, left forearm to thigh, right hand reaches up or over, bicep beside the ear. So little to no weight in that bottom arm. Spiraling your heart open, finding the breath. And then inhale, rise, warrior two. Stay strong, keep the bend in the front knee. Next, inhale, straighten the bend in the front knee, pivoting your toes forwards. So arms to a T, inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold. So option this time to bring your hands underneath of you, fingertips in line with toes, elbows pointing straight back. If you have an inversion practice, feel free to move into supported headstand. Another option, if you're in wide-legged forward fold, is maybe bring the hands back behind you, open up the heart, the chest. Making sure to shift most of the weight into your toes. Engaging your quadriceps, engaging those glutes, hollowing out the belly. Moving back to the breath. If you have an upside down practice, you're taking that supported heads down, beginning to make your way back down to your wide-legged forward fold with control. And then gently releasing your hands underneath of you. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Start to heel toe the feet back in slightly, setting up for Malasana Yogi Squat. So hips lower, hands to heart center. So option to stay here. You can move into Bakasana, crow pose. Another thing you can do is find a bind. So the right hand to the inside of the front foot, left hand reaches up. You can bring the hand to the back of the head, open up the heart as you twist open. Another thing you can do is bring that top arm behind you, right hand around that right leg, maybe fingertips together. Keep twisting your heart open. So wherever you are, maybe you're in crow, you're just taking that time to explore your practice, always having that curiosity, right? Keeping the joy in our practice, always. So if you found the bind on the other side, left hand to the inside of the left foot, hand reaches up, maybe hand to the back of the head, twisting heart open, maybe releasing that top arm behind you, left hand coming around. And then looking open, spiraling your heart to sky. Wherever you are, coming back into your Malasana Yogi Squat, pressing into the feet, lifting up all the way to star. Woo, feeling that one today. All the way up. And then spinning your right toes forward, left toes to 45. Arms reaching up overhead. So option to find a variation with the arms, either back behind you, interlace the hands, or palms to touch for prayer hands. Find a deep breath in. Exhale, hinge and fold forwards. Right hip back, left hip forward. Chest is moving to thigh. Crown of the head reaching towards the earth. Forehead to shin. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, engage the core. So releasing those arms to airplane variation, or maybe if you have the bind, keeping the arms there, shifting forward into warrior three. So left hip tucking down and under, pressing through the back heel like you're stepping on the wall behind you. Crown of the head lengthens forwards. Gently lunging the left foot back behind you. Inhale, rise to high crescent. So moving nice and slow. And then exhale, twisting to the right, left elbow to the outside of the front thigh. Two palms pressing together. So engaging your outer glutes here. So you twist your heart open, looking over right shoulder, modifying and lowering onto that back knee if you need to. Next, inhale, rise, finding your high crescent lunge. And exhale, frame the front foot, right foot steps back, finding that vinyasa. So shifting forward into high plank. Exhale, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Maybe coming back to your downward facing dog. Exhale, sigh something out. Finding 3 rounds of breath. Next, inhale, lift high on the toes, bend your knees, walk, step, or floating forward to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, we rise all the way up, arms together, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. Next, inhale, arms reach up overhead, lifting the knee up for stork. So right knee into the chest. And then opening up the leg to the side, finding tree. So either sole of the foot to the inside of the left thigh, either above or below your knee, not on your knee. Bringing your hands to your heart center, grounding down through your left big toe, Pada Bandha, lengthening up through the crown of the head. So option to try something a little different today if you feel stable. So inhale, the arms reach up overhead, maybe growing your branches. So staying here or moving into leaning tree. So leaning tree, opening up the left side body, the right elbow to the top of the right thigh. And then finding that gaze, that drishti, coming back to that mental drishti, your intention. And then next, inhale, coming back through center. Good, and then right foot meets the left. I'm gonna face you guys for this set. All right, so next set, inhale, arms reach up overhead, finding that stork, left knee into the chest, hollowing out the belly, taking the leg out to the side, finding tree. So left sole of the foot to the inside of the right foot, the right thigh, either above or below the knee. Good, hands to heart center, finding that stability. Tailbone draws down. Maybe if you'd like to stay here today. Maybe you'd like to try leaning tree on the other side if you did when we were here before. So growing the hands up overhead, maybe opening up the hands, pausing here, or leaning into that left knee or left thigh. So left elbow to the top of the left thigh, right hand reaches up. Maybe you have the balance today to shift your gaze, look up towards the fingertips. And it's okay if you fall. You can just come right back into the pose. Right? No judgment. Being kind to yourself when you fall out of a pose. Knowing that this falling, making mistakes, this is how we learn, it's how we grow. The next inhale, come back to center. Good, exhale, hands to heart center. The knee will release, or the leg will release, and then releasing it back down. 2 big toes to touch. So inhale, palms reach up overhead. Exhale, right leg reaches behind you, setting up for dancer. So taking a hold of the sole of the right foot. Left hand reaches up. Exhale, hinge and fold, kicking the right foot into the right hand. as you hinge forward, finding your drishti, your gaze, just beyond the left fingertips. Keep pressing your shin to the back wall behind you. Hips are square. Next inhale, we rise all the way back up. Two big toes to touch, hands down by your sides. Next inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, left hand lowers, bending the left knee, taking a hold of the inside, the outside of the foot. Sorry, that would be your arch of your foot. And then inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold. Kicking the shin to the back wall, finding that drishti beyond the fingertips, resisting that urge to look down. Next inhale, rise all the way back up, finding two big toes to touch. And then big inhale up, palms to touch, gaze the thumbs. Exhale, hinge and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Palming the mat, stepping back to high plank, moving through your last vinyasa of practice, or skipping, coming to down dog when you're ready. Maybe take a cleansing breath when you get there, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Or just focus on finding those 3 rounds of breath. Next, inhale, lift high on the toes. Start to walk the tippy toes towards you, about halfway up your mat. And then lowering down onto the knees. So setting up for hero's pose. So knees stay connected, toes come out to the edges of your mat, and allowing your sits bones to come down in between your heels. So if you have a block, you can slide one underneath of you if this is uncomfortable for you. Another variation that you can do is to extend one leg forwards, just like this. So just be really mindful of your knees here. So we're finding that comfortable place where you can hold the breath for a few minutes. And you can stay here exactly where you are, or maybe place the palms on the soles of the feet, fingertips pointing towards you, starting to lower down onto the elbows. So lifting up the heart and then seeing if you can go maybe a little bit further, if that's in your practice. You want to make sure that your legs stay connected to the earth here. And maybe in your practice you have the space to bring the hands up overhead, holding on to opposite elbows. Tailbone lengthens down, keep pressing the legs into the earth. Find the breath, maybe close your eyes. Now if you are in the variation with the one leg that's forward, taking the time to switch the legs to balance out the body. Just finding a few more rounds of breath. Now, if you've gone all the way down, you want to come out of the pose the exact opposite way that we went in. So bringing the hands to the soles of the feet, propping yourself up onto the elbows, and then lifting yourself, your chest, all the way back up. Once you're there, just take a moment, release the hands, finding your breath, maybe close the eyes, noticing the sensations in the body. Just noticing, not attaching to any of the stories or drama that might come up. And moving into camel pose, Ustrasana. So coming onto the knees. And you want to make sure that you separate the knees 2 fists widths, like so. Now you can tuck your toes under. If you know you can go all the way down and you need just a little bit more space, like so. But we will start by placing the hands into our back pockets. So think of the fingertips pointing down, almost like you're wearing jeans and you're just placing them on the tops of the glutes. Now the elbows, you want to draw them back, so open up the heart. Pressing down through the shins, you want to lift up through the crown of the head. Maybe start to bring your gaze up. So maybe this is where you stay today. Maybe you'd like to go a little bit deeper, start to make that line on the ceiling and follow the line all the way to the wall behind you. Keep pressing your pelvis forward, elbows still draw together. Maybe releasing the gaze. Maybe reaching the hands back behind you onto the heels so you can tuck the toes under. Reaching for those heels. If you can go all the way down, keep pressing your pelvis forwards. Engaging the glutes slightly, belly active here, holding for a few more rounds of breath. When you're ready to come out, pressing the hands into the low back for support, gently vertebrae by vertebrae, pressing the knees, the shins into the earth as we lift the heart and the chest. Now coming back down onto the heels, taking a moment here to just notice. Maybe close your eyes. And so a lot of stuff can come up for us in those deep back bends. Right? Really opening up our heart. We spend a lot of time throughout our day, maybe sitting at our computers, rounding forward. So this can be a really almost emotional experience for you sometimes when you come into those deep back bends. And just know that that's normal and that's okay. So when you feel those things, just let them go. Know that they're being released. You've created space in your body for good things, for joy, for happiness, for peace. Now let's bring the knees together. Bring the hands around to the heels, rounding down for a rabbit. So hollow out the belly, navel to spine. Start to round down all the way, bringing the crown of your head down towards the earth and holding on to the backs of the heels. So option to stay here, breathe into the back body, or lift the hips. So the forehead is into the knees and making sure that there's no pressure on the top of your head. And please don't look side to side in this asana. Make sure you keep looking towards your inner thighs, maybe up towards the navel. Keep pressing your pelvis forward, lifting it up. So very active pose. And then gently lowering the sits bones down. Starting to round up vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way. Crown of the head is the last thing to come up. Coming into your tabletop, crossing at the ankles, and then extending the legs forwards. And finding Dandasana, hands to either side of the seat, lifting up, finding that tall spine, navel to spine, and then inhale, the arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hinge and fold. Paschimottanasana, hands to the outsides of the feet, maybe peace fingers to big toes, maybe hands onto the shins, just whatever works best for you. Everything should be active here. Quads are lifting up towards pelvis, hollowing out the belly. And then as you inhale, lift and lengthen, maybe see if we can create some space. Exhale, hinge and fold, using the breath to go deeper. Keep lengthening the crown of the head forwards. Next, inhale, halfway lift. Good, exhale there. And then inhale, rise all the way. So scooting yourself up to the top of your mat, you'll lower down onto the elbows here. Extending the legs forward, so setting up for fish pose. So fingertips are pointing towards you. Think of lifting up your heart, lifting through the chest. And then maybe coming down, releasing the head to the wall behind you. if that feels good. Now the crown of the head may touch, it may not. Just know that wherever you go today is exactly where you need to be. Find the breath. So opening up the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the center of communication. So good for you. Before you come out of the pose, bring the chin into the chest. And now all the way down onto your mat, relaxing the upper body down, setting up for a cooling inversion of your choice. So maybe today it's waterfall, extending the legs up to the ceiling like you're stepping on the ceiling. You can slide a block underneath your sacrum. You can do happy baby and Ananda Balasana, taking a hold of the outsides of the feet or peace fingers to big toes. Knees come to the outsides of the rib cage. Pressing the feet into the hands back into the feet, hollowing out the belly. Maybe rocking gently from side to side and massage the kidneys, maybe going a little bit further, supported shoulder stand if that's in your practice and you know where you're going. If you're in shoulder stand, you can move into Halasana plow pose by lowering the toes back behind you. Maybe interlacing the hands back behind you. Maybe moving into Karna Padasana, Deaf Man's Pose. And then wherever you are, gently beginning to make your way out. Coming into Apanasana. So bending the knees into the chest, wrapping the arms around the legs, giving yourself a little squeeze, cultivating some self-love here. And take a breath in. As you exhale, draw your forehead to your knees. As you inhale, lower your head, your neck, your shoulders. And as you exhale, gently release your legs one at a time to the top of your mat. And palms facing up, allowing those feet to fall open to the sides, gently tucking those shoulders underneath of you. So open up your heart. We've created a lot of space in our chest this morning, in our hearts. It should be feeling nice and open, should be feeling maybe perhaps a little lighter than when you started practice. And let's take a cleansing breath in through the nose, biggest breath of the day. Holding at the top, seeping in just a little bit more air. Open mouth, exhale, side out. So yogis, finding your Shavasana. Please staying for a few rounds of breath. The most important practice, or the most important asana of your practice, Shavasana. Thank you so much, yogis, for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. The light in me honors and sees the light in each and every one of you. Sat Nam and Namaste.